Good morning. It's April 29th, Thursday at 8:15 a.m. This is the meeting of the North Andover Youth and Recreation Council. I'll go ahead and open the meeting by first reading the governor's order on remote meetings. The live broadcast of this meeting can be heard at www.northandovercam.org. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the North Andover Youth and Recreation Council will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the town's website at www.northandoverma.gov. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to hear the meeting may do so on their televisions by tuning to Comcast Channel 99 or Verizon Channel 28 or online at www.northandovercam.org. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible. Now that we have that out of the way, I'll open the meeting with a quick roll call. Kevin Driscoll?
I'm here.
Peter Breen? Ian Moore?
Good morning. I'm here.
John Hertig?
Good morning.
Holly Williams?
Here.
Andy Furman is present. That's me. Jenna Sidori?
I'm here.
Larry Allen? Larry, I know I saw you. Terry Holland?
Here.
All right. And from the Youth Center, we have Rick Gorman, Demi
Present.
Marsh.
Here.
And from the town, Denise Casey is present, and Jen Battersby from the Youth Center is expected to join as well.
Good morning.
So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining today. Rick, actually, before we get into that, I did send out by email earlier this week the minutes from our March meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve. This is
Seconded
Holly
by-
Williams.
And do I have a second?
A second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, awesome. So, Rick, why don't we go ahead and get into it with the agenda on new business with your updates?
Okay, let me just check. Is Jen Battersby here yet? Okay, Dem, just let me know when she chimes in and we'll get her on. Good to see everybody again. We're hoping only 2 more meetings that we'll be doing this Zoom. We're hoping that in September, obviously we'll take direction from Melissa and Dee, but my ultimate goal is in September for this group to meet live again for the first time in a year and a half. So, but we'll keep plugging along here on the Zoom. I think it's been working fairly well. And I've taken a lot of offline conversations with different council members. So I want to give a quick update on the spring. We are presently wrapping up our 5th week of the spring session. For people to remind, we do 2 6-week sessions every season. So we have 1 more week into our session 1 of the spring. And then we'll get into the final 6 weeks of session 2. Numbers are really good. Obviously, things are changing. So, school vacation weeks are usually really dead weeks. I think Larry needs to mute. So usually school vacation weeks are tough, but February, with nobody going here, it was our busiest February. Flip 2 months later, April vacation, you could tell so many people went away. Obviously, we embrace that, but also are concerned with people coming back. with the COVID numbers. But so we ran programs last week in April vacation, but our numbers were probably at 50% capacity in each program. Obviously back in school this week, we're back to 100% capacity. So spring is going really well. Really happy with our staff we have for the spring. Most of it's a carryover. We have a couple of new staff members, and we have a couple of kids that have come back from fall to and winter sports. So we are excited that at this point in time, for the present people working for us, full-time staff is 100% vaccinated. Part-time staff is about 85% vaccinated, or at least had their first shot. So we're very excited about that. It's making things a little bit easier in trying to control our staff. I know DKC supports me in this. The overwhelming impression of our high school and college kids on how serious they took the guidelines for the last year cannot go unnoticed and needs to be continued to give real kudos to, because I'll be honest with you, our kids in a lot of ways are better than our parents. They really just buy into our culture. They buy into what's expected and how important it is to keep the doors open. So spring is going really well. Summer programs started sales 2 weeks ago. And if you've been following social media, you've followed that this is unbelievable what's happened. So on the first Monday in April, Demi opened up the spring registration. To put it in perspective, Sergeant Summer Fun usually takes 2 months to sell out if it sells out. It sold out in 3 hours and 2 minutes, which was unbelievable, which then created a panic among the town. Drummond, which usually sells out closer to the start date, sold out in 2.5 days, and then also created a waiting list. So we put people on a waiting list, and then we actually had to stop the waiting list the following Sunday because the waiting list was getting out of control, and we would not have been able to service all of the people looking to get in. So we spent 2 weeks meeting with school personnel, meeting with our own staff, meeting with my college coordinators for the summer to see if we could pull this off safely, and obviously the numbers issue. So we announced on Monday that we are taking everybody off of the Sergeant Summer Fun waiting list, which was 56 people, and we're taking everybody off the Drummond waiting list, which was 30 plus. So Demi opened that back up, and almost all of them logged on. We gave them 24 hours. It was like a 24-hour offer. And I think we had everybody but 4 at Drummond and 4 at Sergeant take advantage of the 24-hour thing. Overwhelming amount of emails from people thanking us, appreciating what we're doing or whatever. So also put in perspective, our sports and rec program, which usually hovers between 50 and 70, depending on the year. As of today, I think yesterday, Demi had 5 spots left out of 125. So we're blowing away the numbers that we've had ever at sports and rec. And Girl Got Game, which this time of year would probably have about 15 kids signed up, have 50 signed up, and our goal is 75 on that. Most of our summer programs are sold out. We're obviously still taking people for the Wall Summer League. We're still taking people for a couple of field trips, but the week-long programs, the community service programs, all sold out. I know I'm kind of bragging for us, but you have to understand how phenomenal the sellout is on all of our programs. I think there's 2 reasons for it. I'll give the first reason, and I'll tell you what Melissa said. I think the first reason is I think people have had with the pandemic. I think they're ready to move. They're feeling more safer, more comfortable, not as many fears as last year. And then the second reason, which, Melissa said, and, I obviously agree with, is what we pulled off last year has told the community, we can do this. You can trust these people. They know what they're doing, and they can do it right. So those, I think, are the numbers. Talking to my peers in other communities, some who haven't even advertised programs yet, they're blown away when I tell them about the numbers on that. So all of our summer programs going really well.
So what are the numbers, Rick? What are the totals in Sergeant and Drummond if you're accepting that many kids?
So Sergeant will have over 300. Drummond will have over 310, and Sergeant will have close to 290.
Wow, great.
Sports and Rec will have 125, and Girls Got Game will have 75.
Thank you.
We are also bringing back, with Melissa's approval, we have a little checks and balances we're working on in terms of tracking and tracing, but the full children's schedule will be back on Tuesday and Thursday, starting after the 4th of July on the Common. The rain site, because we're not going indoors to a building, we're using the tent at Stevens Estate. So it's a nice collaboration with our Stevens Estate program. And they're really looking forward to having us on any rain dates. So that's going to be a nice, plenty of parking, and that type of thing. And then on Sunday nights, we're bringing back our entire Sunday schedule. And we have that already booked. We do not have rain dates for Sunday concerts. If it rains out, we try to do it sometime during the week. So I think the community is ecstatic about that. They were very disappointed that we didn't have the children's shows last year, and then they were disappointed that we had to cut the concert short. But I think people, when they look at the big picture, know why Melissa had to make that decision. We are bringing back the entire children's show schedule from last year that didn't get a chance to do it. I think it was the most fairest thing for those vendors to get the opportunity and to support their businesses. And in the concerts, the ones that got canceled last year, they were given the first choice. So we're pretty excited about that. We have it fully staffed. We have a nice plan of how we're working with everything on that. We've been Jen Battersby has been working on our donation letter out to people to try to help support, because remember, we have not had Brooks skating this year due to the pandemic, which supports the children's shows and the concerts. So we expect some really good feedback on that. So children's shows and concerts are back. Let me jump into a little out of order, Andy, just to stay with the summer. I want to talk about Stevens Pond for a minute. So on Monday night, I presented a little bit different, obviously, on Zoom. I presented to the select board about Stevens Pond, and it's usually giving them a recap. We talked about all the exciting things that have taken place since probably our worst year last year. And remember, last year's worst year was not pandemic dominant. It was more of the water quality issues we have. So I updated the select board and the community at large that we have a new aerator, which is up and running and working well. We have plans to work with our police dogs to run the beach in the morning before people get to handle some of the goose issues. We've actually bought some mechanical equipment that helps deal with the goose stuff too. We also talked about our brand new playground that is, it'll be dropped off next week, and then they'll start building it, and all the other really good things we're doing on that. And then we get to the fees setting, and every year, Dee's been around a little bit. She knows it. I present two plans, and it's kind of funny because I really present two plans, but it always seems to be the one plan, and that to keep the fees the same way. I've told the town 12 years ago that Stevens Pond can be sufficiently run on its own. I know it can be. Some of our fees are way too low, such as swimming lessons. There's nobody in the state of Massachusetts only has to pay $50 to learn how to swim. Our season's pass, I think, is long overdue to be raised also. So I think there was an overwhelming feeling on our select board to look at this in two ways. We've just come out of a pandemic. People are still hurting a little bit financially. So let's take a look at keeping the fees the same. And obviously everybody knows Dick and Rosemary are very passionate about it, and they have the longest history with the pond too. So it's understandable. But our other three select board members look at it more from a business standpoint. And what we've agreed, Melissa brought up a great idea, and we kind of do it on the equipment aspect, is Dee, Melissa, and I will be working on a 5-year plan to raise the fees little by little. So we don't whack people one year with a big increase, but the overwhelming one is the swimming lessons. So the fees have approved. They're the same fees as last year. Demi will have it set to go on Monday, online registration only. The fees, obviously, we will not turn away a family for any financial need. We'll help them out. We have a senior citizen discount. So we're really excited about what the pond's going to look like. We're really excited about what the pond's going to be. We're finalizing staff. Our gate attendants have been hired. Kelly is finalizing the lifeguards. So we're really excited about that. We feel the water quality issue will be handled well this year. We just got to hope for good weather, and there will be guidelines. They're not as strict the guidelines last year. We will be able to have swimming lessons. We will be able to use the docks. A lot of, obviously, the health department has looked at things that we were more concerned about last year. People sitting on a dock is what the CDC is not really concerned about that stuff, as they are more for, transmission through the air, close contact, 15 minutes. So we're really excited. We will have a safety plan for the things we need to do, but we are excited and we're going to bring it back. And John Hertig will be the first person over at the playground when it's done. So we will let him know. So that is pretty much on the summer stuff. I did want to get into a little bit about the staffing. So we have taken on this is a monumental thing that we take on every year. We were going to be hiring less people because the pandemic guidelines have changed. Last year we were locked into hiring so many people. I was going to have to get into a position that I'd probably have to tell really good kids that we couldn't hire them back this year. But this is where the silver lining of all the people that signed up, because of the increase in all the programs, we will be hiring pretty much the same amount of people we hired last year. It's looking like that we will have about a 56% return from last year and a 44% of new staff people, which is always my goal, to be around that 40 range where you have a mix of returning people and new people. So half of the staff have been notified. The last two major sites, which is like 110 people, Drummond and Sargent will be announced this week. We are excited that we are not obviously allowed to force any vaccination. At this point, that's personal choice. But we are overwhelmed with how many of the kids have actually taken upon themselves to already be vaccinated or in the process of being vaccinated. We believe that we will have 99% of our entire summer staff vaccinated before we started. That's unbelievably exciting because, last year I spent every day telling the staff, be careful what you do after work. There was never an issue at work. The issue was more nights, weekends, etc. So by getting everybody vaccinated is going to be huge. It's also going to make our residents feel better. Obviously, the kids themselves, most of them won't be vaccinated at all. But this is going to be just a really good thing. We do have a couple, I think it's 2, that family is choosing not to be vaccinated, and that's fine. We will work with that, and then we'll go from there. So the whole vaccination thing, I can't thank Melissa D. and Christina Minicucci. They have been instrumental in supporting my dire requests for 3 months to get everybody here working, vaccinated, and it's been great. And I got to give the kids credit again. Talk about a creative group of kids that found unbelievable ways to get their vaccination. Kudos to them. They did a really good job, because Christina was going to be talking to me about having an actual vaccination for our staff at the youth center. Looks like we're not going to have to do that. Looks like the kids and their families have done that. So pretty exciting stuff with that. Let me just go back to a couple other things on the new business.
Rick, Jen's here too.
Okay, let me introduce Jen, everybody, and then we'll get back to it. So this is Jen Battersby. Jen is the latest person on our team. We love her. She's going to be a great addition to what we're doing here. It's a unique situation. I want to spend a minute just talking about it. So Melissa and Dee heard my voices, which was a 5-year push to get an administrative assistant instead of just the parent volunteers at the front desk. Parent volunteers are wonderful, but when their kid gets sick, they can't come in. You know, when they got other things or a job comes up, they have to leave. So we've been pushing for this. So the town appropriated last year for July 1 a part-time position for us. So a position that would be about 18 hours a week. We were in the middle of the pandemic. Demi and I started looking at this position in the fall time. And quite frankly, we had a couple of people that we were interested in seeing if they were interested in coming on board because they had mother's hours, things like that. That didn't work out. So when we advertised it, quite frankly, we didn't get very good people. And then I think people didn't understand the job description. So I was getting software engineers and everybody else looking to be administrative assistants. So I got a phone call from Paul Hutchins, who's our building inspector, the head of the department, who I've known for many years. And he asked me about this part-time position and that he had an employee that's working part-time that was really looking to go full-time. And I know one of the reasons why it was a part-time position was the town was not necessarily going to pay for benefits and insurance and things like that. So I said to Paul, like, I love the idea, but you got to run this by Melissa. And he said, well, it was Melissa's idea. So Jen Battersby works part-time for half of her hours, works for Paul Hutchins in the zoning department. And then the other half, she works for us up here. Each week we ask her who's the better boss, but the collaboration is actually working.
And she always says Demi.
Yeah, she actually does say Demi. So Jen is here Tuesday through Friday, 8-ish to 8:30-ish to 1 o'clock. And then she heads down to the town hall for us. On Mondays, they really need her at the town hall full day. So that's why she's not here on Monday. And we were actually able to move a couple of our Friday volunteers to Monday. So we are covered basically every day now, which is great. So long-winded story, but I wanted you to, and it's kind of weird Zoom-wise, but I wanted to introduce you to Jen. Jen, why don't you just say hello to the council here?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay.
So does the council have anything they'd like to say to Jen?
Jen, just congratulations and welcome. You know, I know the family obviously, and it's great to have you supporting Rick and Demi and everyone at the youth center. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So nice to be here.
All right, awesome. Well, Jen, you can either stay on or you can log off. Either way, that's fine. But again,
Okay.
welcome. And at some point in time, you'll see all of these folks live, probably in September when they meet here at the youth center. So thanks.
Great. I look forward to meeting everyone.
All right, let me go back to a couple of the other things. So this is a
Rick, real
facility.
quick,
Yeah.
It looks like Jenna may have had a question on something.
Go right ahead, Jenna.
Okay, back to when you were talking about the show on the common and asking for donations.
Yes.
How much does each show cost roughly? Just to get an idea, like if we're donating, we'd like to be able to put a dent in it somehow.
Yeah. So first of all, it's usually funded from some leftover monies we've had over the years, which is starting to dry up, and what we raise at the Brooks skating, which obviously we haven't had this year. We actually had last year, but we didn't have this year. So the concerts, which are usually 7 concerts, run between $500 and $700 per show. And every children's show is between $350 and $650. It all depends on their show, how long their show is, and things like that. To your question, we sent out, Jen did a good job of getting out the letters, which we do every year. Last year we weren't doing because we didn't even know if we were going to have shows. And we have a lot of people like St. Michael's Church, like a number of MTM Insurance, people that will donate, $50, $75. St. Michael's Church usually sponsors one of the events. They pay it at a $500. This year, besides that, we're actually working with a local realtor that actually used to be a YC kid. We've given him some options. He's looking at it now to actually even sponsor a number of the concerts where he'd be allowed to have his company name part of that. So that's kind of what the cost is, Jenna. We never raise what it costs for the whole year. That's why it's has to be, go along with the brook skating on stuff. But if you want to donate 10,000, we would take that also.
I'll think about it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I guess before I get into the building stuff, were there any questions more on spring, summer, Stevens Pond before we move on?
Rick, did you talk about the aerator and the dogs?
Yes. So
Okay.
I mentioned that as what we had talked to the select board about. So we purchased an aerator in the fall. John Bajasi from DPW was responsible for getting it installed, making sure it works. I met with John. It's working fine. We joke about it, but it's really not a joke. Melissa and I are actually going to go out in the rowboat where the aerator spreads up the water just to show everybody how great it looks and how it'll actually add to even the more fun at Stevens Pond also, right? So a lot of it moves the water underneath the level of the water, and then a lot of the spray on that. In terms of the dogs, like I said, we're working with NAPD. We found out from other people that run ponds that the key is to have a pond dog. We didn't really want to take on the responsibility of having a dog for 2 months and then having it for the next 10 months. Jenna, we can leave the dog at your house, but they said basically dogs keep the geese away. So we work with Chief Gray, and we have both of our K9 officer as well as our officer Cam Pramis, who has the comfort dog, which is probably not as wild as the K9 dog, but they're gonna basically run the beach in the morning. So any other questions? Okay. We have some issues with the outside of the building. So remember, we're on a schedule. Everything's up in the air, but we're on a schedule for some renovation and expansion of the youth center in 2023. But we do have some issues with the clapboard at the youth center right now. So we are trying to do some cosmetic work just to keep us until we do the actual expansion. It's really some of the pots are things that have rotted away. A little bit at the front, a little bit under my office here, but the major pot is on the back side of the building, which is where we get the most sun. And the sun has really, really affected that side of the building. So if you're Doc Atwood, when you look at our building from his house, it doesn't look like the building on the front of Johnson Street. So Steve Foster has had this on his radar. We have now finally contracted with Bob Bonifant, who's a former fireman who has his own business now after retired, and he's going to start the work in May. The goal is to have the clapboard work done. And again, a lot of it's just nailing stuff back in, replacing some wood. There is a question of working with the Old Center Realty, the Old Center Historical Commission on possibly some siding as opposed to the clapboard. That's in discussion right now, which would actually last a lot more, obviously. So that work's going to take place. My goal is to have it done before the kids get here in June. It would be tough having contractors here while we have 300 plus kids here. So that's taking place. So you will see that work, and I'll keep you up to date with that. The Joseph and Herman grant expenditures, thanks to Holly's board, we have been expending, and a lot of stuff has come in this week. Our shooting machine is coming in, the new ladder DOS outside. We have our new shed being delivered on Friday. A lot of the other equipment stuff has been bought. So we keep in touch with Holly's board on the expenditures of that, and we'll start working on the next grant this coming fall. So that's going really well. Why don't we wait for the golf tournament to the end so Holly can update that? And let me just kind of give a couple of the old business, Andy, just a reminder to folks. So on 5/20, hope you put it in your schedule. We are having the event at Stevens Estate, sponsored by the Joseph N. Herman Youth Center, Inc. We'll have some food. We will have the bar, all paid for by Joseph N. Herman Youth Center. And we're going to be honoring Ava Samanek, our Youth of the Year, as well as the most scholarship winners the Joseph N. Herman has ever awarded. So all of the recipients and their parents, this board, the Joseph N. Herman board, Melissa D., and all of our staff will be there. I think it's a great night to honor our kids. Our hope, as Holly knows, is we get back to normal in 22, where this can be part of our great event we do every year. But I think we owe it to these kids to really do something for them and honor them in a small way. It'll be a group of about 60. It'll be at Stevens Estate outside on the tent. So I hope you can all make it. It's not going to be a long night. We're going to start promptly at 6 o'clock and we'll be done by 8 o'clock. So the only thing I need to tell folks is due to COVID regulations, significant others or family members won't be able to come. You got to kind of come with yourself, come solo that night, and we'll honor these kids. So that's taking place on the 20th. And then the 27th is our annual Youth Appreciation Day, which we're very, very excited about this year. We did a funky one last year. We did a little bit of a Zoom. We hand-delivered the kids gifts, very time-consuming, but we did a good job. So we're back live. Very excited. Our awards, our T-shirts, the gifts have all come in. Terry and I have worked. Terry's putting together an unbelievable box lunch dinner for each kid. So we're finalizing that. So there will be food, obviously following the COVID guidelines. Nick Savarese, the director, the executive director, Doug Flutie, Autism Foundation, and a former YC kid is our guest speaker. It is planned to be on the outside court with the green hill and everything. The rain date would be in the gym, and we'll work around that. So a big night. Some of you have come before. I think it's a special night, not just to honor all these kids who volunteered for us during the year, but to also hear about all of the awards, who they're named after, and why we have an award named after them. So all good stuff. So pretty much that's all I had, Andy. I'll take any questions, and then I know you need to move over to Holly with some Joseph N. Herman stuff.
We have any questions for Rick? I don't know if Larry's asking a question. Larry, you asking a question? You're on mute.
Larry, you're on mute. Did you have a question, Larry?
Larry, I think part of the problem is it looks like you might be logged in twice. So when you unmute one phone, we get an echo. If you want to text me your question or your comment, I can go ahead and read it after Holly goes. But why don't we move on to Holly for the golf tournament?
Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? All right. Usually I get a resounding yes, we can hear you. I'm not a quiet person. So as many of you guys might have seen, we're doing a golf tournament this year. I'm really excited about being able to do something in the wake of not being able to do the Night to Shine, which will be back in 2022, but excited that we can at least get something on the books for this year. The event is scheduled for June 7th at the North Andover Country Club. So hopefully you've started to see the information circulate on social media. Demi, as always, has been great in getting it out there. And I know I've put it out on Facebook, as have others. So there's going to be 2 flights, as they call them, I guess. And one is at 8 a.m. and one is at 1 p.m. There'll be 13 groups of 4 that can go out. There will be lunch, there'll be prizes and different things on the golf course. We've actually got a cannon that shoots off. So you shoot a golf ball from a cannon to try to get it closest to the hole. And there's I think a vacation, whoever gets it closest to the hole or something like that. The only thing I would encourage all of you guys to do, a thank you to Jonathan, who has signed up. As of right now, we have 4 groups who have signed up in total. Jonathan is one of them. Beans is a second one. And then, do we only actually have one set of women, Demi? Oh, no, David Teresi is the third men's group. That's what I'm thinking of. David Teresi, and then another group of women have joined up. So I would just encourage you guys to try to help me spread the word, as it is about 5 weeks away and we only have about 4 groups signed up. So that's a little concerning. If you sign up by May 5th, there is a free 3/4 zip that we're giving away for early signups. I don't want to commit to the brand, but I think it's going to be an Under Armour 3/4 zip. So it's not going to be hopefully some cheesy thing. It'll hopefully be something nice. The other thing we are looking for is sponsorships. We've reached out to all the ad book people and the major sponsors from years prior. The sponsorships are down slightly. So for example, Pentucket Bank gives one amount, and that amount, while it's still a sizable amount, is down from prior years. So definitely still looking for sponsorships. I can send all of you guys the sponsorship sheet as well as the sign up sheet, so you have it. The sponsorship sheet, it's a little different this year because typically we have quarter-page ads that start at $175, and we don't really have those options this year. So they start at $350 for a sign at the tee box and go up from there. But if somebody had a company that wanted to put something in the little golf bags you give out at golf tournaments, we're happy to take donations. I know one local company came back and said, we can't do the $350, but we can give you something to put in your bag with our brand on it. And I said, that's fine. Whatever works for you, we'll make it work. So if you guys could know any businesses, colleagues, friends that would want to donate or golf, any help is greatly appreciated. I will send that off to everybody on this call and those who are not present as well. So that's kind of it for right now. Does anybody have any questions on it? Awesome. That's it. Thanks for any help you guys can give.
Awesome. Any other
Let me know if I-
questions?
with anything for this. This is Dan Moore. I don't know if you're aware, I told Andy I have to sign off at 9 o'clock with a scheduling conflict. So if there's any voting that needs to be done, can we do that before
Yeah, Dan, I think we're actually just about to wrap up.
Okay.
Unless there's any other questions or comments for Rick or anyone else. Demi? Awesome.
Andy, I just want to make a note that I think we said it last time, but that June 24th meeting needs to go a week earlier.
Yeah, I was just going to make that. Yep.
Our summer programs start that week.
Yep. But we're good on the May 27th, right, Rick?
We are correct.
Yeah, that was just a oversight on me on the template, so I'll fix that for next month. So our next meeting will be May 27th, 8:15. At this point, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded by,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, everyone have a great week. Stay well, stay healthy.
Thanks, everybody.